Hey everybody, and welcome to Dee Talk Live, Monday's Love Talk. I hope everybody is really well and you're all having a fabulous day followed by a beautiful night to come. I hope everybody is really well and ready to go on tonight's topic as well because I am. I'm very excited and so into this topic right now. Tonight's topic is not only in a romantic context, but it has to do with obviously relationships. And it's in regard to how we move on, how we take the next step after we've been with somebody for a long amount of time. It's literally after a breakup. So, when is the right time to move on after a breakup? That's what we're going to talk about tonight because it's very questionable and so many people always have their opinions upon the matter as well. It's always like, oh my God, it's too fast to move on, or oh, you're taking forever, you need to just go ahead, go have fun, have a great time, do what you have to do, go out there and just meet somebody. But I ideally believe that in regards to relationships and in regards to actually meeting somebody again, I think the person needs their time. They always do. It's part of the healing process. It's part of actually understanding what happened with your previous relationship, and you need your time in order to find yourself again. That's what I believe. That's my personal opinion upon the matter. Everybody else thinks quite differently as well. Sometimes people do what they do because they want to move on quite substantially fast, but sometimes it is considered a rebound. It is considered some sort of coping strategy. So that's what we're here to discuss tonight. We're here to discuss the fact that when you're in a relationship and you've been with that person for a very long time, do you, like, straight off the bat, continue on this journey and say, you know what, I'm going to get involved with someone straight away? Should I move on, subsequently very quickly and go for it? Or should I take my time and really understand why we broke up and what I learned? Because every relationship has those benefits, You learn through relationships, you learn through specific circumstances. And you know what I believe? I believe it's up to the person as well. It just depends on how long it takes them to get over the previous relationship. Sometimes you don't get over it. Sometimes things come up in order to trigger your senses, and you'll always be somewhat reminded of the person, somewhat, right? But that's part of the healing. That's part of you actually using your tactic, using your self-control in order to fathom it, understand it, take it on board and say, you know what, I'm going to take my time with this and I'm going to use it in order to help me keep on going and keep on pushing forward in order to find somebody again, okay? So that's all part of it, right? And it depends on how long it takes someone as well. It depends on how you guys broke up. It depends if it was a full-on breakup, you were with the person for a long time. I've even heard the saying that it takes a person half the time they were with the person to actually get over that person. My friends have actually spoken about that too. And it really depends. It depends on, how you're actually coping with a lot of things, because we're all different, remember that. And we all understand things differently and tend to move at a pace where we believe is suitable for us, okay? So there's nothing wrong with moving on quickly. There's nothing wrong with moving slowly. There is always an idea on how to do these things. So when you're with somebody, you can choose to move on quite quickly, or choose to move quite slowly. It's all about when you believe the right time is to move on in regards to a breakup, because as I said before, it's quite personal. Everybody has a different way of understanding what they've just gone through. And, you know, they take their time, and you might be different to somebody else. You know, it might take me half the time it takes you, or it might take the other person half the time it takes me. It really depends on the situation, the relationship, and what that person has been through. So, you know, it's hard. It's hard. But, you know, as I said, I have nothing against anyone who wants to move on so quickly or wants to go for gold, you know, like wants to continue on the romantic journey. But remember to heal yourselves before you actually keep going on that love journey. Because if you're not specifically healed, if you're not complete, then how do you think you're going to be complete in that relationship? So I'll give you another analogy. If your cup of love is not full and it's quite empty because you've been through so much and you're still hurting, how do you think you're going to be able to offer your cup of love to somebody when it's empty? Your cup of love has always, it always has to be full, you know? And this is a tarot card analogy. When you have, right, the Ace of Cups, that means a new relationship. And aces usually mean new beginnings as well. It's always about beginnings. And the analogy that I'm talking about is if your cup of love is empty, how are you able to present that to somebody else that wants to give you their love, or wants to give you that affection, or wants to give you what you want? You need to heal those demons. You need to heal the love. You need to heal the hurt, and really go within and understand yourself and cry and grieve and go through all those aspects that are pretty, you know, nasty, because they're the only way that you'll actually manifest and mirror and bring in somebody into your life that you're going to take that next step with. Because it's what we want, but what we project sometimes is what we don't necessarily want, because it's projected through previous partners and previous people that we've been through. Hence why I said, when you have a cup of love, you want to give that 100% to the next person that you may fall in love with. But if that person, right, is somewhat complete and you're still somewhat missing specific elements in your cup, or you're not 100% in, it won't go as planned as what you want. And you won't project those characteristics, those types of things in that person, because you'll get those things that you don't want, you know. For example, I'll give you an example. Years ago, I kept on manifesting the person that I didn't want into my life. And, you know, and still to this day, I haven't exactly found the perfect person that, you know, completes me. I did, but obviously you guys know the story, so we won't go into that at the moment. But, you know, regardless of what I had manifested before, what I'm manifesting now is completely different, right? So when you go through a traumatic experience or something that's grief-ridden, right? So I not only went through trauma, I went through grief. And as you guys know, I went through a lot of it and a lot of trauma, okay? And after that, obviously I lost the love of my life, okay? So now searching for love isn't as easy as what you'd think it was, right? Because everybody thinks, oh, it's easy, look at you, you can, you know, but it's not like that. It's actually quite hard. Because what we want and then what we need are two different things, obviously. I don't need to be with anybody. I want to be with someone, right? So look at the language that's used here as well, right? This is always about language. And then also about, you know, things we want, ideals, morals in somebody, right? That's going to treat us with respect, that's not going to be a narcissist, that's not going to be controlling, that's not going to be jealous, you know, I could keep on going, etc., because I've been with people like that, and I have been with partners like that, believe it or not, okay? So I'm getting back to the fact of the cup of love, right? I'm giving it as this analogy and this whole thing of when is the right time to move on after a breakup, right? Because it's really interesting how this works out, right? It's got quite an impact, and in regards to the relevance, it's spot on, okay? So when you let's just say break up, or, he passes away, or, we're going to give an example, sorry. You again start, your love journey, right? Because you think it's time, blah, 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 blah. But sometimes when we haven't healed specific elements within ourselves, we keep on mirroring the same things that we don't want, right? And these things come up from the hurt that we have gone through, right? There are things within you that you need to fix, okay? Every one of us needs to fix something, right? So mine would be abandonment issues, because after I lost someone in a car accident, I thought that that's what every single male would do, leave me. Do you understand? So I'm giving that as an example. So that's one form of a specific issue that I needed to fix, and needed to understand that not every single male was going to leave me, or he was going to pass away. So these are the things that we really need to look within ourselves and say, hey, what are my issues? Because then what happens is you don't heal those issues. You don't take the time to document these things down, because a really good exercise is to sit down and document the previous partners you've had. Because once you do, believe me, you'll see an actual repeating pattern, and you'll be like, I thought she was different. I thought he was different. But they were exactly the same. They were just packaged differently, right? It's hilarious, I know. But in reality, they were exactly the same person, because you mirror that exact person because of subsequent issues or things that you have within you, right? And a lot of these are programmed from childhood that you don't actually want in somebody, but you don't know that they're there because they're part of the subconscious, right? So what used to happen, and has been happening, because I have worked on myself, as everybody should work on themselves to become bigger and better, because we learn so much. We learn every single day. That's why I try and say, none of us are perfect. We're imperfect, but we're beautiful, regardless of who we are and what we are, right? So what I did was, I started looking at those patterns. I started looking at the reoccurring positions, the reoccurring characteristics. And then I was like, oh my God, I've had like an epiphany. I can't believe this, because they were all quite similar, but a little different, but the same, right? So then I'm like, okay, so my cup of love obviously is missing something. So I went back and I thought, you know what, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to executively look at what has been done to me, because there were issues inside of me that I had still not released or let go. And that's the reason why I kept on manifesting the same sort of guy that I didn't even want, right? So, and you might be manifesting the same sort of woman that you don't want, vice versa, whatever you guys are into, it is what it is. But it just depends on you, right? But it's hilarious, because you don't like realize it. You're like, I just want to go out, find a specific person. This is the person that I'm, attracted to. But then once it happens, you're like, far out. Like, I'm actually manifesting the same person and the same type of person. That's why I'm saying, it takes time to move on after a breakup. It doesn't necessarily take 2 weeks and you're like, all right, let's do this. Let's go out, girls. Let's go pick up someone. It doesn't work like that, because you're still healing. You think that you're not, subconsciously you are, because your soul and you, two different, you're part of each other. But remember, it's the exterior, that's the interior. I always tell everybody to work on it, Anyway, so my cup of love, is again full now, and it's becoming a lot better than what it was, and hopefully, eventually it'll get to the brim, and then I'll be able to go out there and mirror exactly those things, because as I said, I've been mirroring a lot of crazy people. So, and that's what obviously you don't want, but you laugh at it and you learn from it. Remember, previous relationships are for us to learn about, laugh about, giggle about, but you learn, you understand things, and it's part of the lesson, and it's part of the journey, and there's nothing wrong with it, and it's fun, so that's why I say we really, really need to, take our time and do those things that I'm talking about, really go within and make sure your cup of love is full, because once it is, you're able to offer that person exactly what it is that you want, and they'll be able to offer it to you as well, and it's also about, them and you, but exactly, otherwise it's a vicious cycle, exactly, because, you need to heal yourself. You can't, sit there and, keep on going on this same sort of journey and stuff, and if you really want to find somebody you want to be with for the rest of your life, why would you just go for something straight off the bat? Really understand what you want from somebody and really help yourself and get in there and really heal yourself. Do things that make you feel wholesome. Be alone, document things down, understand yourself, understand what you've gone through, and then start to understand those patterns in order to make a differentiation and a what's the word for it? A separation, so that you're able to know the difference between this relationship and that relationship, or you're able to evidently see what's actually happening. Because when you're able to observe it and see it, because usually you can't, because you feel as though you've been with numerous amounts of different people, when in reality they're the same person, but built in a different package. So they might be blonde, blue eyes, dark, tall, handsome. It could be anything, but that's what we really need to identify and really get down to the bottom of things in order to fill that cup of love and keep on going, and it obviously has. It's taken me a very long time, and it's normal, because it's part of the healing process, and I'm sure all of you have gone through similar circumstances to myself, because we are so the same, guys, and that's why I thought it'd be such a relative topic tonight, and it'd be so useful for people. So that's it, guys. As I said, use a breakup as a way of sitting down and observing it from the outsider. Be that person to sit down and really understand what went on and what lessons you learnt from that relationship. And then eventually you'll be ready again to explore the ideas of love and romance and to complete your love journey as you keep on going. You guys have an amazing night. Thank you again for joining me on Dee Love Talk Mondays. Go Dee Talk Live! It's so warm tonight as well, isn't it, everyone? God, I think it's like about 31, I'm not even sure. I will see you guys back on Thursday for Dee Talk Live on Thursdays. Thank you again to everyone for all your beautiful comments, your support, your everything. You guys rock my world. And I will see you again on Thursday for Dee Talk Live, where I will make sure we have a few announcements, because a few things have been happening. Even though we're in Corona again and we're in this whole lockdown thing, I hope everybody's going really well as well. Sorry, I just didn't even check if everyone's okay. I hope you guys are okay. Remember, stay in that positive space of yours. Do not affiliate yourself with exterior motives of what is going on, and know everything is okay. And as I have said in many of my posts, this shall too pass. It always does, right? Love you guys so much. Have a good night. I'm sending you love and light. And I will see you for our Thursday Dee Talk Live.